Hello, everyone. Today we are going to continue reading the book Polar Bears, in which we are practicing questioning and wondering in the book. And this will be our last day of questioning and wondering. So let's make it a great day by working really hard. Last time we came up with a list of questions that we wondered and things that we had learned from the book already. So some things that we learned were that polar bears are usually twins. Mother bears don't eat from January to April when they have new babies. Polar bears aren't actually or are actually black. Their fur is clear, and only 1 out of 4 babies survive to its 3rd birthday. So those were some of the things that we learned. And then wonders that we had are, what do polar bears eat and how long do they live? So we got to answer this one a little bit. And you may have had different questions or wonders, but since I can't hear you speaking, it's hard for me to know what your questions and wonders are. But if you have a list that you made from last time, it'd be great to pull it out. If not, then you can follow along with me as we continue reading Polar Bears. All right. Here's our next page. It says, polar bears are patient. Polar bears are very patient hunters. Their main diet is the ringed seal, which is the most numerous seal in the Arctic. They can smell a seal's breathing hole in the ice. Then they wait silently until the seal surfaces at that particular hole. This can take a very long time since each seal has 10 or even 15 different holes to choose from. Sooner or later, the seal returns and the giant bear grabs him. Be thinking about if you have questions. Polar bears are hungry. That's a good picture for that. Polar bears like to eat only the blubber and skin of the seal and usually leave the meat, which is in turn scavenged by Arctic foxes. A bear can eat 100 pounds of seal fat at a single sitting. Polar bears need to catch about 1 seal a week in order to stay strong and healthy. When the opportunity presents itself, which is rarely, polar bears will even hunt walruses and beluga whales. This is interesting. I'm noticing that one of my questions is being answered on these pages. Polar bears are tough. Polar bears are masters when it comes to enduring blizzards and cold weather. They have lots of warm fur, even on the bottoms of their feet. But equally important is their 4-inch layer of blubber. With this combination of fur and blubber, almost no heat escapes from their body. Even when the Arctic temperature drops to minus 50 degrees Fahrenheit, a polar bear's body temperature stays at a steady 98.6 degrees, the same as ours. Their compact ears and very short tail further prevent heat loss. Interesting. Okay, so from the part that I just read, what did you learn about polar bears? Take a moment and either write it down or come up with some ideas in your head. I learned that polar bears eat ringed seals as their main diet, which is kind of cool because that answers one of my wonder questions. What else did we learn? I learned that polar bears wait at a seal hole to get them, which means, just like that page said, polar bears are very patient. Those are a couple of the cool things I learned. Oh, I really like that polar bears have the same body temperature as humans. I thought that was really cool. They have a temperature of 98.6, same as humans. It's interesting. I wonder if they have a fever, if they're still allowed to go to school. Okay, next, based on what you learned from the last few pages, what questions do you have? Take a moment and think. What are you still wondering about polar bears? I wonder, what is the coldest temperature a polar bear can survive. It mentioned that they can survive even in negative 50 degrees Fahrenheit, but I wonder if they can survive even colder temperatures than that. Pretty cool. Any other questions that you think that we should add to our What We Wonder list? It does say on page 18, when the opportunity presents itself, which is rare, they'll eat walruses and beluga whales. I wonder how often do polar bears get a beluga whale or a walrus? But rare. I wonder what rare means. Interesting. Okay, I'm going to read to the end of the book. So be ready to jot down a few more things we learned, as well as a few more wonders that you might have. Polar bears are fast. No other four-legged animal can swim as fast as the polar bear. They swim at a rate of 6 miles per hour. That's quite a bit faster than they generally walk. They can do this because of their dinner plate style front paws, which are webbed and work like paddles. They use their hind legs only to steer. Their great swimming ability gives them their Latin name, Ursus maritimus, which means sea bear. They are also good divers and can see well underwater. Polar bears are few. Although altogether, there are only 20,000 to 25,000 polar bears in the world. These are separated into 19 groupings, which are called subpopulations. Most polar bears, about 15,000, live in Canadian territory. About 4,000 live in northern Alaska in 2 separate groups. There are no polar bears in the middle or southern parts of Alaska. Polar bears are endangered. For tens of thousands of years, polar bears were the undisputed rulers of the far north, but now their existence is in jeopardy. Climate change is their single greatest threat. When the sea ice breaks up and melts earlier and earlier each spring, the bears find it increasingly difficult or impossible to catch seals. The result has been that in certain regions, fewer baby bears are surviving since their mothers are not as well nourished. Pollution and the disturbance caused by northern oil rigs and exploration for oil are additional threats. The United States Department of the Interior declared the polar bear a threatened species, the first animal added to the endangered species list because of global warming. Wow, that pops up a lot of questions in my head. All right, and that just brings us to some extra facts about polar bears, which we aren't going to read right now. So based on what I just read, what did you learn? What's something you learned about polar bears? Pause the video and jot it down, or turn to a stuffy or a friend. I learned that polar bears are endangered. And you know what? I'm going to actually pop right over to the wonder question because I want to know, how can we help? What can we do to help these magnificent animals stop being endangered? Take a moment and try to decide, what do you wonder? What questions popped into your brain as I was reading about polar bears? Pause the video, see if you can come up with any. All right. So, interestingly, we were able to answer a few questions from the book, questions we had earlier on, like how long do they live? What do polar bears eat? We were able to answer those as we continued reading. And that's one of the really important reasons why we do questioning and wondering. Because if we ask questions, we are then able to understand as we continue reading and can answer those questions. It's a pretty cool skill to have. So thank you for enjoying Polar Bears with me. This is one of my favorite nonfiction books that we got to read this year. And that's going to be a wrap up for our nonfiction questioning and wondering unit. Thanks, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day.